welcome to the first episode of the Forge Within. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about mastering priorities in your life. I got a really special guest. Very honored to have him, Justin. We've known each other for what?
Quite a
long
while,
time.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
back
10
in,
years now,
yeah,
actually.
back in Hawaii, back in
Yeah,
Hawaii days.
the good old days.
Yeah, it's good, So,
Good to be back with you.
yeah, man, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know, it's Sunday weekend, spending time with your wife, but I appreciate it, man. It means a lot to me.
I'm glad
For
to
you
be
to,
here, dude. I appreciate the invite. We haven't been able to catch up in probably 5 years, so
yeah,
a
it's been
lot's
a while.
changed in 5 years, six
Yeah.
years.
All right, man. So tell me, give me a little update, man. Like it's been, 5 years. What have you been up to? What's
Not
been
much,
going
dude.
on in Justin's world?
Pretty quiet 5 years, just a pandemic, couple deployments. Um,
Yeah.
but no, I got to here to Fort Cavazos about 6 months ago. I was in Korea again for another year. I'm in the army still, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Um, got married, got a beautiful
Nice.
wife. We're working on a
Congr-
family.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. Round two, baby. And cut. No. But yeah, everything's been really good, man. It's been relatively quiet for the most part, which is more than I can ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here, man. I think we pretty much almost followed like the same. Like I went to Japan, spent my time there, ended up meeting my wife, who I'm married to now. Second time's charm.
Oh.
I know it's, had some bumpy roads, but man,
Yeah.
it's great. And I remember a long time ago, I think we were in Hawaii. You were like, I enjoy being married. And I remember looking at you like, this dude's crazy.
Yeah.
And, but now I know what you mean. Like on a whole new level, I definitely enjoy being married and, having a wife who loves my kids for who they are. And it's just, overall a good thing.
I think it feels nice having someone to come home to at the end of the day. It
Yeah.
was nice when I was like younger, just come back to my messy apartment and like lay on my couch like a slob, but it's nice to like come home and talk to someone, give someone a hug, have dinner, whatever.
Yeah.
Share a
That's good.
life. Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of life, the topic of today is, prioritizing your life. And some of the things I think I want to talk about is like, what are the things that, get in the way of us prioritizing our lives, kind of covering some tools like the 80-20 rule, saying no without feeling guilty. I know I have a problem with that.
Oh yeah.
It's huge. And just overall, improves your work-life balance and, creates a, peace for your personal life. And I know
Yeah.
a lot of people could really, and I think that's the first step is to, personal growth is to really kind of figure out like what matters to you and what doesn't, what can you let go and what you can't. I know I like to use or not me, but one of my bosses at work says we have glass balls and rubber balls.
Yeah.
Which one can we drop and which one can't we drop? And
Yeah.
we be dropping a lot of balls at work.
We
That
do.
sounded bad, but
That's all right. That's it.
you know what I mean.
No, I'm glad you're talking about this because I think, as we were kind of talking about before, like this is something that I still don't think I've mastered by any means, but at least getting better at it improves so many other aspects of my life. So not just like work stuff or not just personal stuff, but like my
Mhm.
sleep and how you can train other people by doing this and stuff. I think overall it's really important
Yeah.
because if you're, to use your or your metaphor about glass balls, if everything's a glass ball, then like you're just gonna go nuts. You know what I mean?
Exactly. No, I 100% feel you on that. Just work, I know I was going to try to stay away from work, but, we're both in the Army and, our work is our life. So we're, back and forth. And I think a lot of people in the Army get that, intertwined together and they can't separate the two. And it's hard, let's be real. It's
Yeah.
hard to go home and turn that switch off. And, especially when you're working at the higher levels, not that we're at, DEFCON 4 levels, but you know what I'm saying.
We're almost
Like,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I agree. And I think just because of the reality of our job, right? Not only like the wartime stuff, but the fact that like you're going to get an evaluation at the end of the year, right? And if what's most important to your boss is not what's most important to you, or you have to say no, which is uncomfortable, like
Yeah.
it can have an effect. You know what I mean? So the guy above you wants to get everything done, but you're the one doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing I've noticed. Like, it's easy to be like, yeah, man, that's easy. Just do it. Just get it done.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't think you have any clue as to how much work goes into, but okay, yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I got it.
I guess I don't really have a choice, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought about it. I was like, man, the Army has been a good thing for me, right? A great, uh, to me, I call it a stepping stone.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but fortunately, it's been a 17-year, hopefully a 20-year stepping stone into,
Hmm.
the next thing I do in life. But it's taught me a lot. But there's times where I'm like, oof, man, at 15 years where you're at now, I almost didn't reenlist. That's just how fed up I was
Hmm.
with just the burnout and just how my career was going. And but I got over that. At the end of the day, it's okay, man. I'm where I'm supposed to be, and I'm headed where I'm supposed to go.
Yeah.
But anyways, just kind
I'm glad you
of,
mentioned burnout. Not to speak over you, but
oh
burnout is
man,
like something that becomes more manageable with prioritization. And I
right.
actually had to look up the 80/20 rule because I didn't know if that was something I was like subconsciously doing or not, but it does make sense. So I don't know if you want to talk
Oh
about
yeah,
it a little bit more
dude,
because
great
I have like a
segue
very
into
vague
that.
understanding.
Yeah. So yeah, the 80/20 rule, from what I understand, is that um, some guy, what was his name? Do I have it in my notes here?
Abe Lincoln.
Pareto, something like that. That's what comes to mind right now. It's probably not it. But anyways,
Close.
this guy had like a bean crop, right? And he noticed that that 20% of his bean plants were producing 80% of the yield from his crops. And he was like, whoa. And he, I guess in life or just in our lives, we put a lot of energy into things that don't yield a lot of results. And you can apply it to your life, business, for instance. Like I think the example I saw was a coffee shop where the coffee shop had this huge menu of like drinks, but
Mhm.
they only sold mochas, lattes, and like espresso shots, and that was like 20% of their like 80% of their revenue came from those three things. Instead of trying to really focus on selling the other three, they just started to focus on selling their biggest three selling drinks. So
Mhm.
that was their 80% of their. But you can apply that to anything, in the 80/20 rule. So yeah, um, I guess when you're prioritizing your tasks, like you got to think, what is going to give me the best results? Where should I spend my energy and my time? So when you're prioritizing your task, it's like, how do I do this?
Yeah. What's going to give me the most yield?
Is that what you got out of it, or is that am I
No,
completely
no,
off
that's what I
base?
got out of it. I think it was like obviously like a circle of 100%, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like a lot of the time focusing on 20% of the most important things can lead to 80% success or yield or whatever
Right.
terminology you're talking about.
Do you think
So if
the
you have
army?
10 things that are super important or super important to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
but there's like three that are actually really important, if you put all your energy into that, then more than likely your success will be greater,
You're right.
was my
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to put it. Do you think? We'll just hit on the army for this one because I think we know the answer. But do you think the army
Yeah,
does a good job at applying the 80/20 rule?
absolutely not. Not even sometimes. Because I think, like I said, man, like your boss is like, I don't know, relative, say you have a captain or even a major, right? Someone's been in the army for 10 years and you've been doing this for 17. Like they want to make their boss happy. So everything their
Mm-hmm.
boss asks of them, yes, we can do that. Yes, 100%. Absolutely. Yep. This is the most important thing to me too.
All right.
But all that happens is now you're juggling a million what you think are glass balls. So you're at work until 2000 or 8 p.m., right? And you're missing date night with the wife and you're not able to go to the gym because you're too tired when you finally do leave and you're not eating. And
All right.
all the little tasks in between are now falling away, some of which might actually be important.
Yeah.
So I think we just try to do too much. And I think it's because you want to make the person above you happy. But
Yeah.
even when you focus on all those things, typically you don't make them happy because now you just said yes to everything and you dropped a million balls.
Yeah, now you look like a scumbag because you overpromised and underdelivered, right? You're like,
Exactly.
yeah, like that dude is terrible. He can't do
Yeah.
anything.
Yep. Trash.
He's like, I'm trying so hard, and they don't, and they don't see the struggles, and some leaders do, but let's be honest, let's be real. Let's be real
Yeah.
here. Not everybody sees the work that goes into something like that. But
No, and I think that's,
100%.
we kind of talked about it before a little bit, but I think that's why it's important that like we start trying to change that. And I notice a lot of, I guess, yeah, the younger generation that's been
Right.
in for 15 years has seemingly been better about finding out what's actually important versus what
Yeah.
is not as important, what can be dropped and what shouldn't be dropped.
Right. And you know what? I think I don't know where I heard this. I don't remember where I heard this, but it was some sort of LPD I was sitting in. But they said there are more like critical training requirement hours than there are hours in a calendar year.
Really?
Yeah. And I was
Not
blown away.
surprising.
Yeah, I was blown away by that. I was like, so what you're telling me, like, if I were to take 365 days times 24, right? And whatever that number is, there are more training requirement hours than there's actual physical time to give to that.
Mhm.
It's like, how do we do it? You
Well, I
know?
like that it's all critical too. That's just the critical ones. So if I'm
Yeah.
not meeting all the critical ones, then like, am I even, you know what I mean? Like, what about the
Yeah.
not critical ones?
You're not qualified.
Yeah,
You're an
better
in
go home,
queue.
pack it up.
Back it up, man. You're trash.
Yeah,
I a lot of us are, I think a lot of us are just holding our heads up above water and trying to make it through,
yeah,
Um,
yeah, for sure.
but let me ask you this though, right? In a perfect world, say you had everything in order. So what is like one thing you wish you had more time for?
Hmm. One thing that I wish I had more time for, I think, was, I guess, just time to travel.
Okay.
Because especially, being more senior, you can't really just take a week off whenever you want to. You know what I mean? So I think I would like to travel more because talking about time, like, as you know, my mom just passed. I know you had some stuff in your family as well, but like, I know plenty of people that never left the country, never left the
Yeah.
state they live in. You know what I mean? And I think it's because everything seems too important. You just start pushing stuff to the right, and then it
Hmm.
never happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At some point
I
you
wish I had
gotta,
more time for that.
yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I mean, and I think you will. I think, but that's kind of one like when prioritizing things in your life, you got to put some of that stuff that you want to do at the top of that list.
Mm,
And it's like, and I guess, I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it. Actually, we will, saying no and not feeling guilty about it.
hmm
Um, because I got some, I don't want to say I got some crazy stories, but I got some stories about that deal with my kids. And it's
hmm
like, and it's always a guilt trip or some sort of form of manipulation from the baby mamas, when I'm trying to take a weekend with my wife to go do something, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Especially with my upcoming trip, for the next year I'll be gone. But
Oh
um,
yeah. Forgot about that.
yeah, so trying to maximize my time with my kids, but on the other hand, I have a wife, I have a life,
Hmm
like I still have to take time and spend time with her, and that's okay. Like I know that's okay.
hmm
Not everyone else thinks the same, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna answer that question though. What if I wish I had one thing I had more time for?
Yeah, I'm
Hmm.
rude, dude. I didn't even ask you. I apologize.
No, you're good, man. You're the guest. You're the
Oh,
guest.
true,
Like
man.
I ask you the questions and you answer. It's all
I
good.
just answer.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like I have enough time, right? I just don't manage my time well. Like I'm really bad at it.
That's a
And
valid answer.
yeah, I spend a lot of time on my phone, spend a lot of time on social media, which I'm trying to work on, by the way.
Hmm
Um, I think really understanding, being real with myself, right? I spend too much time on my phone. I spend too much time playing video games, which I'm working on as well. That's another thing. Like I'm cutting back all that stuff because
hmm
at the end of the day, what is it doing for me? Which is nothing. The answer is nothing.
I guess so. I feel I have like a double-edged sword on that because if it makes
Yeah.
you happy, you know what I mean? If you enjoy
Right.
doing it. But as far as like yield, like if you
Yeah.
want to talk about beans, like I
Yeah.
don't know how many beans you're getting from playing video games, but
Yeah. I've been trimming this bean plant for 4 hours, and I got one little coffee bean out of it. Like,
4 hours is a long time to trim beans.
yeah, what'd you do all day? Just trim beans, man?
Just
No, I
trim my
mean,
beans, dude. Don't worry about it.
so yeah, I got heavily involved in World of Warcraft again, like raiding and just diving all my time into it.
Hmm
And I thought, like, I remember one Saturday I sat here because I don't have a lot of friends, man. I went on a friend strike for a little bit, kind of still in it, but it's okay. Like a friend strike, and I just spent. My wife was playing softball, so I spent I think 8 hours sitting at this computer behind me,
Oh, dude.
like playing World of Warcraft, right? And then I thought to myself, like, what could I have done in that 8 hours?
Yeah.
Right. And then, of course, with my new obsession of time and trying to manage it wisely, I was like, man, that I really wasted a lot of time doing
Mm.
nothing. I did nothing.
Yeah.
Right. And I was stressed out because I was trying to do some stuff and I couldn't get into groups. I was like, man, this game's stupid.
Hmm.
And after 8 hours, I was just like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to play anymore. And then it
You
hit
know,
me.
like it reminds me of like buyer's remorse, but with time.
Hmm.
Like, I can't believe I just did that for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Can I return this?
Uh, The crazy thing is you can't return
Yeah.
it. Time is the only currency that once you spend it, it's gone. It's gone
Hmm.
forever. Right. It's not coming back. And once you put that in perspective, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I've been wasting a lot of time doing a lot of nothing.
Hmm.
And, prioritizing my task. Like today, I spent a good amount of time. I wrote my goals down for 2025. I spent a good amount of time like figuring that out, what I wanted to do. But, it's just a struggle. And I know a lot of people struggle with it. So I guess my follow-up question to all this is, why do you think like people struggle with prioritizing, today?
I think it's because like people are more reachable. Again, like I know we don't want to discuss the army, but I feel like I am more reachable now than ever in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got email, you got the work phone, you got your cell phone, there's Signal, there's a million different ways for them to like, hey man, real quick, can you just get this done? Or hey, you have time for a quick phone call, let's sync on this. And you're like, it's Saturday at 2 p.m. Like
Yeah.
I'm with my wife or I'm at the gym and there's just more and more stuff and more and more stuff and people again want to make their boss happy, right? Or someone needs a favor or whatever it is. So
Mm-hmm.
I think and once once you invited me to this, I kind of sat down and thought about it a little bit. Like you just stretch yourself so thin. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you don't really sit down and like, here's what I'm going to do today for me. This is the stuff that I will get done at some point this weekend, maybe if not next weekend.
Yeah.
And then this stuff, like if there's spare time, sure. If not, nothing changes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think just I think people probably struggle because of how reachable they are. And then like you said, you know what I mean? Social media. I deleted all my Instagram and Facebook a couple of years ago, and I just got back on Facebook um, earlier this year
Yeah.
just to share that my mom passed away. But even now, like I'll find myself scrolling Facebook for 30 minutes. I'm like, dude, I could have like gone for a run. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many things that you can divert energy and attention into. So I
Yeah.
think if it's not other people asking for your time, it's like it just gets burned up kind of on your own without realizing it.
Yeah. I catch myself doing that a lot where I'm just like scrolling on Facebook
Yeah.
and the crazy thing is I know better, right? And I think that's what upsets me the most about myself is
Hmm.
I know better. I mean, we're doing a whole
Yeah.
podcast on it, right? Like, but
Well, you're not impervious to it. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's at some point I'm going to be sitting, do 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 do.
Oh, the bathroom?
Yeah,
The
the
5 minute,
back.
yeah, you're in there 45 minutes, your legs are asleep. Like,
Yeah, your legs feel like TV static,
yeah, exactly. I leave
Can't
my
feel.
phone out and I'll just read things in the bathroom now because otherwise I'll spend 6 hours in there.
Yeah, I've been making a conscious attempt to, when I'm at dinner with my wife to not be on my phone.
Hmm.
It's hard too, man, because
Oh yeah.
it's like, to be present in the now. And, I think that kind of social media could probably be a whole episode in itself. But so I agree 100% with what you're saying. I think I want to add, I guess, kind of to that is that I think a lot of people are just lazy sometimes, man,
Hmm.
or they don't know any better.
Hmm.
Right? They don't fully understand that, you know, or they haven't had something that happens to them that makes them think about, oh shit, I'm wasting time doing this and this is meaningless. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And I think you have to have like those big significant events, like a family member passing or massive heartbreak or whatever it may be.
Hmm.
But
Or even just dropping the ball on something. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, and getting your ass handed to you because you just
Missed date night or something, whatever.
yeah, yeah, or you promised your kids you were going to come pick them up, but sorry, last minute thing at work, you're not leaving,
Hmm.
you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the things that bothered me the most. Here recently, we had to do an exercise at work, and they're like, "Yeah, we're going to be working over the weekend." I was like, "What?
Yeah.
No, I'm not working over the weekend." Luckily, I had a buddy of mine in in my shop. I was like, I'll cover for you. And it ended up working out where my son didn't come either. We had planned for it, but it worked itself out. But at that initial point, it was like, no, we're working this weekend. You're pulling shift during the day. I'm like, shift? What are you talking about? Like, what for? Like, we're supporting brigade. I'm like, I don't care about brigade. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, my kids are important to me, and I'm leaving in like a month.
Yeah.
I'm going to be gone for a year. Luckily, I have a really good boss, and she was understanding. She's like, yeah, if you can get someone to cover for you, I'm like, okay, cool.
Ruin someone else's weekend.
Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah. Sorry.
Pass the buck. I mean, honestly, though, like, why are we doing exercises on the weekend?
I think it goes back to like dropping the ball. Like, what is that important? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are we at war? Like right now, right here? Probably not. We could pause that.
To me, it's like if you can't get what you need to get done in those 5 days, then maybe you need to look at your own little time management sheet and figure out what you're doing. That's just my opinion, right? Like,
yeah,
easier said than done, though, because I'm not in that position. But I'd like to think that, we could kind of figure out what the hell's going on in 5 days, hit our objectives, our training things, and then move on with our lives. Like, I don't understand why I have to be,
Well, I think that goes back to what you were saying about being afraid to say no. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Someone's got to say no sometimes. And if you don't, that's before you know you're working on the weekend supporting brigade by sitting at a desk.
Yeah.
Still just staring at your cell phone. You know what I mean?
You're just like, yeah. Hey, what are we doing, guys? I've said that multiple times at work, man. And it's just, it's a never like, it amazes me, I'm just sitting there in meetings. I think the other thing too is like going to a meeting for the meeting to the other meeting,
dude,
for the meeting.
Yeah.
To lie about some slides. Yeah. Let me go ahead and lie about these slides for the next hour. No bigs.
Yeah.
Not me,
but it
but
don't matter.
Yeah.
Why do you only have one dude that can drive a bus in your battery? It's like, how many buses are we going to need for something? You know what I mean?
Right.
We don't have
buses do we need? Yeah.
We don't have the bus for him to drive.
Yeah, it's silly stuff like that, man. Like,
yeah.
I wish, I wrote a post about it. It's like I need the Department of Government Efficiency to come in and audit the DoD and how much money they're wasting.
A good amount.
Yeah. But I'm kind of getting off topic here, but that's usual for me, right? So it's okay. It's free flowing.
I was just going to say that. Free flowing.
Free flowing. Vibes. We can go into that. But how do you, I don't know if you talked about how you haven't quite mastered it, prioritizing your life, but what do you do right now to kind of like put things in order? You might not be good at it, right? But you have some sort of system.
Honestly, I write things down.
Okay.
So I don't know what it is, but like just visualizing, I have a whiteboard in my office, visualizing what the task is and when it's due.
Yeah.
And then in my head, I'm like, here's task A. Like if that doesn't happen, what's the outcome? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Here's task B. If that doesn't happen, that's a pretty serious outcome. So let's bump that up.
Right.
And then I just knock them down like that. And then delegation, like I'm sure we'll get into the Eisenhower matrix because I have the cheat sheet, but like I think delegation is incredibly important, especially in our job, but in most jobs, I think, because if you can't trust the people to get things done for you, they're not going to learn how to do it, number one. Mm-hmm. But number two, now you're the number one person. If you're gone, the whole ship's going to sink.
Right.
So what can I pass on for other people to do? What do I have to do myself? What can happen at some other time? And I just write everything down. And what happens if it doesn't happen right now?
Right. That's good, man. I think I do something similar. I have to-do lists. I have them everywhere. Like I have like 3 or 4 whiteboards that I'm writing everything down.
Post-its everywhere.
Yeah. I'm scrambling every day. Like I come in and just stare at my whiteboard for a good solid hour. And I'm like, okay, start just writing stuff down, working stuff out. And I prioritize it. I give it a number, usually is what I do. Mm-hmm. And I kind of guess that falls into the what you mentioned here, the Eisenhower matrix, what's urgent versus most important task. And I kind of put it, and I actually use this. So I use like a quad chart. Mm-hmm. And I think that the top left, it is like urgent, important. I have to do this today. Like if not, then I'm probably going to get, reamed for something. Right. And then top right is like important, but not urgent. Like I can get to this tomorrow. It's a problem for future Joey. Not too worried about it today. And then urgent but not important, that's kind of like I can give that off to somebody else in the shop or someone else can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course you got the lower right, which is like, is that really like a big deal?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, it's fine. Like,
Yeah.
not a big deal. So that's kind of how I do it. And I usually do that internally, like in my head. And then like, that's when I assign kind of, a number to my list.
How do you deal with things that are, again, this is going back to the boss thing, but like, I feel like a lot of urgent and important things come throughout the day, kind of short notice.
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with things that seem to be urgent and important, but then once you sit and think about it, you're like, this probably isn't that big of a deal, but it's due at the end of the day for some reason.
Yeah. Well, I
Is
guess
that
it
when you
depends.
have to be afraid to not say no, or do you typically just try to add it to the top of the list?
So that's a good question, right? That's wow. Um,
This is my podcast now.
the Justin
Welcome to the
Myers
Justin
takeover.
Myers show.
No, man, that's a good question though. I really appreciate that. When I get stuff, somebody's like, "Hey, this needs to happen today," and I'm like, I immediately think to myself, like, this is not important. This could wait till tomorrow, or we could do this another time. But again, in the organization that we work in, live and work in, right? Everything is, trying to please your boss.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say I'm so much as I'm not an ass kisser for sure, but I have matured and learned that, if I want to get a good rating, I should probably, bend the knee a little bit. So I usually look at it and I analyze like, okay, what is this task? How long is it going to take me to do this? Is it something that I can step away and get done and then come back to what I was working on? Or like, how much energy do I have to devote to this?
Yeah.
And then I have another little, like, it's a business matrix in my head. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's like a triangle where like the top of it's like cheap, expensive, and then you get slow and fast, and then it's quality.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You can only have two of those, right? So,
Yeah.
if it's a quick,
Cheap and fast or expensive and slow or whatever. Yeah.
right? Like it's you can't have all three.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the quality of work is going to reflect in how much time I have to do it, right? So, if it's due in an hour, well, I'm going to spit what I can out, and good luck.
Yeah.
But if you give me, a week to do it, like I can manage that.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of go back to that, how much time do I got to devote to this? Okay. What else do I got to do? So that becomes like constantly like juggling tasks back and forth, because that happens a lot. Like,
Yeah, it does.
a lot. I need names for this, or just the dumbest task I've ever seen in my life. Just,
Yeah. But there's always something.
I need people to go pet ponies on the weekend. Like,
They have to be in uniform then.
yeah.
You're just like, why?
Like, why are we
Yeah, I
doing
don't
this?
know. And I like that you mentioned like the quality of work. Like nothing is free, right? Even it's
Mm-hmm.
either money or it's energy or it's effort or someone else is paying the bill. So like something that I add into the whole urgent, important, whatever, like your quad chart is like who is going to pay for this and how much is it going to cost them? So like
Yeah.
if we have a last minute tasking, I have to send 5 guys to the rodeo, right? I'm gonna have to send a squad to this rodeo coming up. It's like the middle of the work week, so now we're missing them at work.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I have to jump through my own butt to get names and all this stuff, and like they don't want to drive all the way down to Houston, so now they're paying the bill. So I try to add that into the equation also, like who is
Yeah.
going to pay for this and how much is it going to cost? Because it's not
Yes.
just free, right? They're not just names. People have to react and
Yeah. And like now you got to think, what kind of impact does it have to your your unit? Like, man, I don't have anybody, but no, we got to send somebody.
yeah,
Well, shit.
yeah.
I guess I'll
If only
send
I
my
didn't have to have
armor,
five
my
guys
only
go stand
supply.
somewhere. Yeah, exactly. My only supply person.
I'll send my whirly room guy. Yeah.
Yeah. But to
Yeah.
somebody, that's like a really important thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've never fully, understood that, but I've also never, so I like to try to put myself in other people's shoes instead of
Mhm.
like, I know a lot of the people like in the units below me, at the subordinate units, they're like, man, S3 is garbage. S3 is
Yeah.
this. You hear it all the time, man.
I used to
Uh,
say it.
yeah,
We've all
I
said
did
it.
too, in
You know
fact,
what I
right?
mean? Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
S3's trash, which is, for those that don't know what S3 is, it's the operations. Basically, you run all the operations for the battalion, which is, the higher echelon level of a unit, and you're just there directing traffic, telling them what to do, where to go, where to be. And it's a tough job, but I guess, like I was, kind of what I'm getting at is like, you don't really know what someone's going through in those, like how challenging the positions can be, and vice versa, right? Like I deal with a lot of the first sergeants, and I have a lot of good first sergeants in my unit. And sometimes they frustrate me because it's like, hey man, I need this information, and I don't get it when I want it. But on the other hand, I know these guys are like working their asses off to make stuff happen. So, I'm a little bit, and I've never been a first sergeant, so, I don't know what that's like. So I can't speak on that experience. I know it's demanding, so I have to have, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit of maybe empathy. Yeah, to kind of understand that, man, these dudes are struggling, and let me help them the best that I can, work with them. And there's times where you just can't, and you're just like, I'm sorry. Like, I hate to do this to you, but that's what I got.
What goes back to the glass ball, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to just do it.
Yeah, and I feel really bad. I think, there's been times where we get taskings and I got to shoot it down to the units. I'm like, well, let's get this over with. Like,
you hit enter on the email and just look away.
Yeah, email of shame, what I call it. Because it's true, man. I feel terrible, but on the other hand, I got a job to do. So
yeah,
but
there's always a bigger fish.
Yeah. So besides work, though, right? So I feel like I've talked a lot about work, but with your personal life, how do you do your task, or prioritize your life, like your things? Have you made goals for this year?
No, man. Some relatively small ones. Like I want to finish my bachelor's degree. I'm so close, and I just have to sit down and do it. And we talked about video games and stuff, and like playing on social media, and like the 35 minutes that I stared at Facebook earlier, like I could have enrolled in school, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it could have been done. That would have been like a huge weight off my shoulders. But as far as prioritizing tasks in my personal life, this being my second marriage, like I try to prioritize what's going to make my wife happy, which doesn't always work, right? Because
Of
of
course.
because of our job and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why it's important to find someone that you're kind of like level-headed with. Like my wife doesn't go out and party and stuff, and if she wanted to do that all the time, and that was like a priority to her, it'd be exhausting.
Yeah.
But I think, as of late, I've been trying to prioritize mental health more. So just relaxing on the weekends and not feeling like I need to do a million things. I'm weird. Like I like mowing the lawn. I like cleaning. I like chores kind of, what I mean? Just things to keep me busy. I love washing my car. So I've just been taking time to do the things I enjoy doing. And if there's work stuff, like I'll talk to my commander or I'll throw an email out or something. But usually it's just stuff to make my wife happy because I don't want to have a bad home life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I can respect that. I picture you putting on the brown cargo pants and tucking in your shirt. Got some New Balances on.
Oh no, I wish, dude. I don't have kids yet, so I can't buy those. I tried to buy with the PX the other day, and they wouldn't let me. Like, you don't have children, you can't buy those shoes.
I'm on my way, man.
Good for you.
Honestly, though, I lucked out. My wife, like, she mows the lawn. She'll be like,
really?
Man, that grass is getting real tall. I'm like, yeah, it is.
Weird. Someone should cut it.
I was like, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll look at her. I'll do it. But my wife is a very much I'm going to do it right now type of person.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, she'll look at me. She's like, that trash. I'm like, I'll do it. I promise I'm going to do it. Just like not right now. I'm doing something else, and she's like, and she'll take it out. Right. But she's very much like, I make fun of her because, like, on the weekends, she wakes up and automatically, I swear there's a broom next to her nightstand. Like, she sweeps. She's up, she's sweeping.
Nice.
Like, have breakfast, have some coffee.
Yeah.
Like,
brush your teeth or something.
Chill out. She's like, I got to get it done. I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like today she played, so she's an all-Army softball player.
Oh, wow, dude. That's cool.
Yeah. I brag about that because she's really good.
That's awesome.
She's all-Army 3 years. And then she's I think she's gonna try this year. I'm not sure. But anyway, she played softball all day yesterday. Today she was exhausted at our age. Doing those kinds of things takes a toll, right? So she came home. She's like, I'm tired. She had like this pile of laundry on the bed. She's like, I need to do this, but I'm so exhausted. I'm like, take a nap.
Yeah.
No, I got to do the laundry. I'm like, no, take a nap. Literally
Yeah.
take 2 hours, an hour, however long you need, and take a nap. You can do it afterwards, or we can do it
Yeah.
afterwards.
Where's
Like,
the laundry going? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's just going to
it'll
go
be
on
there
the
when you wake
body.
up.
Yeah, it's not going
It's not
anywhere.
leaving.
Yeah. Um, but I'm very much the opposite, right? Especially at home. Like, I just don't, you know, I like to enjoy myself. I like to my house. I quit drinking. I don't go out anymore.
Mhm.
I haven't been out in years, like years. And, I like being at home. Like you I wash my truck.
Yeah.
I, I like to tinker with, cause my degree's in digital marketing. So I do a lot of videography, and I have so much money spent in cameras and useless junk. Not useless junk, but stuff I wasn't using.
But it's cool to buy it. I
Yeah.
love buying stuff that I'm not really going to use. Like I might need this someday.
Yeah. It's like yeah, I might need this.
Yeah, who
But yeah,
knows?
I've spent a lot of money on my because I started a business, right? That was one of my goals, priorities. So I was like,
Hmm.
I'm going to start this business. I'm going to be a photographer. I'm going to do social media content because that's kind of a big market right now. Bought all the equipment, and I just it's been slow. It's been slow.
Still
So
progress. Not to
yeah,
sound cliche, you know what I mean?
yeah,
But
yeah.
that's
You're
cool.
right. Yeah,
I think with the chores thing, like, and my wife talks to me about this all the time. I don't know. I think actually this comes from bad prioritization, but like my brain, I'll forget that I'm doing stuff a lot.
hmm
Not saying I'm bad, like I'm bad at prioritizing. You just kicked me out of the podcast now, but like,
Get out of
um,
here.
she gives me shit for this all the time. But like, I'll start doing something and then I'll see something on the way to finishing that chore, and I'll start doing that instead.
hmm
So like, take the vacuum out, and I'm like, oh, the counter's dirty, and I'll start dusting the counter. But now the vacuum's sitting out there, and I'm like, oh, here's a sock. I'm gonna go put this in the laundry, and I'll start laundry. Like, so there's like a million tasks getting half done that just take all day.
Yeah.
So I
No,
think that kind of circles back to the prioritization thing, where I'm just like, I'll just do all of this right this second,
yeah.
and it all gets half-assed.
That happens to me. So like I'm really bad at that, especially at home.
Yeah,
I'll like, oh, I need to change this light bulb. Well, let me go get some light bulbs. And then I look, oh, there's no light bulbs here. So then I go, it's kind of like the Malcolm in the Middle scene where the dad, same thing with the light bulb.
yeah,
He goes out, he goes to get in the car, and he knows like something squeaking on the car. So he goes and he starts fixing the brakes. And then he goes to look for a screwdriver and the screwdriver. So he's like, at the end of the
yeah,
day,
yeah,
he never finished changing the light bulb. He did
yeah, yeah,
everything
yeah.
else but
Just did a
that.
million things,
Yeah,
and that happens. You know what I mean?
it does. It's wild. It's just interesting. And that's why I say, like, I think when you start, because the theme of this podcast, I just kind of want to hit on this a little bit. It was to personal growth. We kind of got really fired up when I went on my buddy's podcast and talked about shadow work.
Hmm.
And then we talked about like inner strength and how going through, you put steel through the forge, you beat on it a little bit and it comes out stronger. And I feel like it's like the top couple things to start your journey is one, like self-reflection, kind of realizing you have a problem. Like, man, life isn't going how I want it to.
Hmm.
And then sitting down and prioritizing your goals, what you want to do. And then I think there's a set probably phase of prioritizing your life is work and, your personal life. Like what's going to
Hmm.
take precedence over the other. Unfortunately, I think we kind of work in an organization where our priorities are going to get trumped by someone else's.
Hmm.
And, that's where I think we're going to roll right into the next segment here called The Art of Saying No Without Guilt. Setting those boundaries, right? I don't know about you, but I have a hard time saying no.
Yeah, I have a hard time with boundaries.
Yeah. Oh yeah? Why? Why
Yeah,
is
not
that?
like not in a weird way. No means no, but like I just especially when I was younger, or I get when I again it's gonna be at work about work, but like when I was in the ops sergeant major position in Korea, I was like, dude, I have no idea what I'm doing. I've never done this job before. I don't even know what this guy does. So like
Right.
every single thing that came across my desk, I was like, this is priority number one, and now this is priority number one, and now it's 9 p.m. and I'm still sitting behind my computer like just hammering stuff out that isn't even important. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think after doing that for months or weeks, I guess, I realized like, dude, I'm just gonna like, what's the worst that'll happen? This isn't that important. We can't support it. Hey, no, we can't do this. And sitting back and waiting for that nasty email to come, and usually it's just like, okay, no worries, we'll task somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of realized, as far as like the work lane, that like sometimes you just have to say no. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And someone's gonna get unhappy about it. Like I said, there's always a price. Someone else is gonna have to pay it this time, but like sometimes you just have to say no.
Yeah.
And it is what it is.
I think learning to say no really helps with just, burnout and, well, especially for work, for us saying no, not like it's a little harder for us to say no because if someone who outranks us is like, hey, I need you to do this. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Versus like, a peer asking you to pull their duty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing my wife's really good at. Like I said before, my mom passed recently, and
Hmm.
the years before that, her mom would just nag. I would never speak to her at all, my grandmother. But every time my mom was like going through something, she would call me and be like, "You have to do this, 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 and this." And like, I'm in Korea or I'm in Italy or I'm nowhere near her, so you can do that, right? But trying to be nice and trying to be a good son, I'd be like, "Okay, yeah, let me get on that." It's
Yeah.
2 in the morning and I'm making phone calls from overseas to try to do this or that, and it started to affect me. Like it would cause tension with my wife and I, and she was like, "Well, you need to like set boundaries with her. You
Yeah.
just have to be like, no, I'm not. Like you can do that if you need to, but
Right.
I'm not going to." And it's uncomfortable, but after a while, like you start to see the dividends that it pays, not
Yeah.
only on your mental health, but like with time or sleep or whatever the case may be, your relationship.
Yeah.
If you just say yes to everybody, like your emotional piggy bank or time piggy bank just kind of empties
Yeah.
out without you realizing it.
Yeah. There's not a lot of deposits, but a lot of withdrawals, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
I don't know where I saw that at, but I remember like an analogy or metaphor where it's like you have an emotional piggy bank and there's people always taking money out of it, right? But who's putting money back into it?
Yeah.
And often the answer is nobody, you know?
Yeah.
And it can, I think I hit, just kind of putting myself out there, I hit burnout with my job. Um, I go up and down. Like I'm in ebbs and flows. Like there was at one point where I hit burnout with my job and I just didn't care. Like
Mhm.
I was showing up to work just so I wouldn't get fined, where you seem jaded.
Yeah.
But I struggled. Um, uh, I struggled a lot. I was just, this is, I don't know how I'm going to make it through this. I kept telling myself, I just got to make it through this week.
Mhm.
I'd make it through the week, and then the next week
Yeah.
would show up. I'm like, all right, guys, I just got to make it through the next week. And eventually it got better. And then people swapped out, and then it got worse again. And
Mhm.
I think currently we're on the up and up, but just the overall is, and once I learned and kind of put on my tool bag that, I can say no to things and I can say no to people. And I do now. For a while there, I was a little bit a yes man. Yeah, let me do that.
Mhm.
And that was more so because of other internal issues,
Mhm.
um, due to my career history. Right, my reputation preceded me. I never realized how important that was until you get to these levels, um, and my need to be validated and my need to have someone say you're doing a good job.
Mhm.
Um, like I was trying to please everybody, and I just couldn't do it. And then I like we mentioned earlier, like you just turn into I don't say you turn into a big old crap bag, but it's kind of inherent into the like you're just
Yeah.
overwhelmed and doing too much.
Well, I think
And
especially at our level, that could be dangerous because if you're just like a random E4, you're a random like brand new soldier, you're really only impacting yourself if you say yes all the time. But like if I say yes all the time, I'm like tasking out people. You know what I mean? Like
mhm,
now other people's lives are
yeah,
affected. Now these people aren't going home to have dinner with their families or they're coming in early and
yeah,
missing breakfast. It's the same for you, obviously. So
mhm,
I think like especially as we get older, it's more important to learn how to say no because there's repercussions or your wife, your kids, whatever.
right. And I think that's, and I don't know, mate. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this, but like with the, and again, back to the Army thing, because again, that's our life, right? That's what we do.
Yeah.
Just to make that
I'm
very
telling you,
clear to
dad bros
everyone,
right now.
like we are like 24/7. This is what we do. Like right now, I could probably get a phone call. Hey, I need you to come into work to do something. I
Yeah.
could. It's probably not going to happen, but I
Knock
could.
on wood. Yeah.
Right? Not gonna, yeah. Let me do that right now. It could happen. You're never really off. You're just not there. Right? So where was I going with this? See, getting old.
Um, burnout,
Yeah.
your reputation.
Yeah. Yeah. I lost my train of thought.
That happens to me all the time
I
also.
was knocking on wood, man, and just so I don't get phone called, and I
The
lost
thought was
it.
so scary of getting called into work on a Sunday that your brain
Yeah.
just like shut off.
Yeah. Trauma. I
Yeah,
had a trauma lapse
it
right there.
happens.
It's scary. Oh.
Yeah. But again, like not even if it's not just for you saying no and setting boundaries, like the people around you start getting impacted. Because
Yeah.
once that emotional piggy bank is empty because you said yes all the time, like now your kids aren't getting it, or your family's not getting it, or your wife's not getting it because you've got nothing left. You're not going to the gym anymore. You're too stretched thin, you know?
Yeah. I think that's like, yeah, I think saying no is super important, and a lot of people are scared to do it, especially at work, right? Like, because
Yeah.
I mean, in civilian life, you could probably get fired. I'm not doing that.
Hmm.
Um, but I think there's a probably like a proper way to, more tactfully say, yeah, I'm not gonna do that versus,
Hmm.
like, oh hell no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I guess the how you say it and how you present it can really, well, at least for me, right? If I had one of my subordinates come up to me like, "Hey, I need you to do this." Nope, I'm not fucking doing that.
Just your head
Versus
explodes.
like, "Hey, I'd love to, but I have other commitments that oh, okay. See, I'm more open to that versus
Hmm.
the previous thing I said. So I think it's how you bring up those issues. But again, I think at our level, it's kind of one of those uh, saying no is almost like a no.
It's like, I guess tact though, right? You could be like, I just can't support, you don't have to be like, no, because that never goes well. No, I'm not doing this, but you're just like, I don't have
Yeah,
the personnel or I'm here at that time. But yeah, I guess you're right. I think it's just easier setting boundaries with friends and family and people in your personal
yeah,
life than it is with work, probably military or not. You know what I mean?
yeah. Because I mean,
Everyone's got a boss.
right. Your livelihood kind of depends on it, right? You got to work to make money to live.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, setting boundaries with your friends and your family, I think is a lot easier to do.
Yeah.
And I talked to my wife about it because she's very much she's got a lot of friends and she's always doing something for them.
Must be nice.
To have a lot of friends.
Yeah, dude.
Hey
This is
man,
the
being
most
at the
human
top,
interaction I've had in months.
yeah, dude, being at the top is lonely, brother. I'm telling you, like you're gonna have a lot of time by yourself.
I just tell jokes to myself in the office. There's no one to talk to.
You're just weird, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little
Hey
mirror at my
man,
desk I talk to.
Top is losing there. He's losing it, man.
He's just giggling with the lights
Yeah.
off.
This is kind of off topic, and I'm going to go into it just because we talked about being friends or having friends. I think in my little intro comeback video, I was like, I took a step away from Facebook. I deleted a lot of people that I was going through it. I was going
Mhm.
through that time where I was like, these people don't talk to me. They don't. They only come in once a year to ask me. They're being nosy. Asking me
Mhm.
about this or that. They don't actually care. Um, So I took them off my friends list. I think I went down to like 86 friends, and I made the decision like I'm not adding anybody. If you want to
Mhm.
be my friend, you will send me a friend request,
Yeah.
but I'm not. I'm not adding. I'm not going to go to your page and hit send friend request. I'm not going to do it.
Mhm.
And that was kind of like my boundary for that. But kind of speaking on the friends, as we get older, like I said, I don't like to drink. I don't. Let me take that back. I will say you came over to hang out, right?
Mhm.
Like I would have a beer with you, and that's probably be it. That'd be like I'm good. But I've gotten older, man. Like I like staying at home. I mean, I pay $1,900 a month to be in this house.
Yeah.
Like
I
I'm gonna
heard
enjoy
it.
my house, right? That
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense. Like it doesn't make sense for me to leave unless absolutely have to.
Mhm.
Uh, But I'm kind of, I went on a, how do I say this? Like a friends kind of
A cleanse.
like a cleanse, but also like a freeze, right? I really just, because a lot of people that wanted to hang out, they were like single. They're single. They want to go out and do things
Hmm.
that are just not a part of my life or my lifestyle.
Hmm.
And it was kind of, again, I guess going back to no is like, nah, man, I'm good. Oh, come
Yeah.
on, you don't like to drink? Come on, you don't want to have a go out and go to the strip club? Like, no, dude, I'm good. I
Yeah.
just I just don't have a desire for that anymore. And
Hmm.
people, it's crazy because people will literally judge you for it. And you know, I,
It's so odd
yeah,
because I don't drink either. My wife doesn't drink. I don't know the last time she drank, but I haven't really drank at all since March. It's been almost a year.
yeah,
And like, it's the only like, I don't want to say drug, but thing, I guess, where if you're like, no, I don't want one, they're like, well, why, dude? Why
yeah,
not? You know what I mean? Like,
hmm
it's not like, if my friends are doing meth and I'm like, no, I don't want some, they're not like, why not, dude?
yeah.
Or
Do
like
some,
smoking cigarettes, whatever. Yeah.
yeah,
So it's just, that's a boundary I had to set too.
yeah,
My dad, for some, just because he's my dad and I would see him often, he's like, well, let's go have like a glass of scotch and we'll just sit by the fire pit. And I'm like, I don't drink. And he's like, well, just one. It's not drinking. You're just having one. I'm like, no, dude. So
yeah,
those are boundaries that, despite being awkward and stuff, you just have to set them. And again, I'm sure it's easier doing it with friends and family, but
yeah,
I think your personal code and morals or desires or goals or, you have to kind of keep that at the forefront of your mind.
yeah. I agree,
I
one
think
hundred
that helps.
percent. Yeah, I've been in even at events, right, outside of like, hey, I got to go to this event, and they have
Mhm.
alcohol there. It's like, hey, have a drink, and you've heard the saying like, can't trust somebody that doesn't drink, right? And
Yeah.
it's an insane saying, but people
Yeah.
like live by this creed, I guess. So I allow myself to like, I'll have a drink. I'll babysit a beer for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's all warm and tastes like piss,
Yeah. Yeah.
but and I'm drinking water in between. But
Yeah.
uh, and that's just more for social. But I just I guess what I'm saying is my friends need to align. I want my friends to align with what my values
Mhm.
and kind of where I'm headed in life. And then if I'm not going to hang out with people that are not, that want to like party and drink, it's just not for me anymore, man. I'm getting old.
Dude,
I
I'm tired
prefer,
at 8 p.m. I'm tired right now. I've been tired for the past 4 hours. I couldn't
yeah.
imagine staying out till midnight or 1 or 2 or 3 in the morning. I mean, you've been to Korea, right? Or no?
I actually have it,
Oh,
but
so like Korea, dude. I had friends in Korea that would go out till 5, 6 in the morning. Like I'd be waking up to watch a hockey game, and there's plenty of times where I was FaceTiming Sheila and like going to wake somebody up because someone got in trouble, and the dude just got back like 20 minutes before, and it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't imagine doing that now.
yeah,
You know what I mean? When I was
yeah,
21, sure, but I'd much rather
yeah,
just play video games or watch movies or sleep.
yeah.
Yeah,
I,
so I feel
I
you.
I'm right there with you, man. I'm just now, since I've started my journey of kind of personal growth, I'm just now starting to really open up. Like my buddy Galarza, that I was on his podcast, that kind of started all this.
Mhm.
Um, he's been teaching me so much. He's younger than me, but dude is wise. He's a wise
Mhm.
man. Like
Yeah.
he's a good guy, and he likes to go. He does a lot of fishing. I learned,
Mhm.
and I used to fish. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll try fishing out. Maybe I'll do something like that. But I'm starting to slowly let people back into my life that
Mhm.
at some point, you know. And just by the way, I was going to address this. Troy, right?
Yeah, man. I was with him in Korea. Talk
Yeah,
to him.
yeah. I talked. Yeah. He was like, you know Myers. I'm like, yeah, I know Myers. He's like, he says you hate him. I'm like, I don't hate Myers,
Dude,
man.
all three of us were together in Hawaii. How would I not? You know what I mean?
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah, me,
Yeah,
you, and him were together.
yeah. It's like, just
Well,
just
I'm
to,
glad you don't hate me. I also
just to
don't hate
clear
you.
there, man. I've
We don't have to.
never, yeah, I've never hated you.
Thanks, dude. I've never hated you either.
You've always been like super funny, dude. You're hilarious. I don't know if you know. I'm sure you know this. Like,
You are too, man. We
you're
had a lot of good
hilarious.
laughs in Qatar.
Yeah, we did when the times were good.
When the times were good, yeah.
When the times were good.
Sometimes at other people's expense. Gee, shout out Sergeant First Class Gonzalez.
Hey, he's
Master
caught up to
Sergeant.
him. Yeah, caught up
Yeah.
to him now.
Well, thanks, dude. That makes
Yeah,
me feel better. I'm
yeah.
glad.
Um, So I've just reached a place in my life where I'm just like, it's time I don't compete. I don't compete with people. Like, I want everyone to win. Dude, I was super happy. Like, when you said, hey man, come to my change responsibility, I was like, hell yeah.
I'm glad you
Like,
came. It meant a
yeah,
lot.
like this was, seeing my friends, be successful and just do great things, man. I think, a lot of people, well, especially in our job, like they're a bunch of haters, man. They just want to hate on people and they want to not see them
Yeah.
succeed. I'm the opposite. I want people to succeed, and almost to the point where I'll, at my own expense, but
Yeah. I think it's just odd that like, especially when, you know, I don't want to get too military, but I feel like we kind of eat our own. You know what I mean? Like,
we do.
and like, oh, so and so is getting promoted. And it's like, well, I got all this stuff. Why am I not getting promoted? Instead of just being like, dude, congrats. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
We
feel
should
that.
be, yeah, we should definitely be lifting up our people, and we don't do that.
Or
Um,
work harder too. You know what I mean? Like even if you're not thrilled that they're getting promoted and you're not like,
mhm.
you can be nice and then also just learn from it. Like maybe if I do this, that, or the third, ask them what they did.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to lie though. Like, this was part of my self-reflection was, I was like, what am I doing wrong? You know, but then I've reached a point in my career where I'm like, it's okay, man. I'm going to move on, cheer my friends on as they move up, and I'm good with it. Like, I've made my peace with where I'm at, and I'm okay with that. And, I don't have to be, I think a lot of people get this confused, or maybe misinterpret it. Like, you don't have to be in those positions to lead people,
No, dude,
right?
not at all.
You don't. So I'm just waiting, and then I can lead. No, you can lead now. You can
Yeah.
influence people now. I don't know what you're waiting on. Like, I don't understand.
No,
Um,
I agree 100%. I
yeah.
think people, a lot of it really is kind of to go back to social media, but I don't know if it's like a brag or what. Like you can be a good person and a good leader and a mentor and all of these things, regardless of the position you're in
Hmm.
life.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people want to like, I mean, literally have the symbol on their chest that like, look at all the leading I can do, when really
Hmm.
like you could do the same amount anywhere.
Yeah. And that's a tough real I mean, I don't want to say it's a tough pill to swallow, but it's definitely like, it's like, you know what? I don't need these things to, lead people or, make effective change for others. I can do
Yeah.
this now. Like, it's, and once I adopted that like thought process, I was like, I'm good, man.
Hmm.
I'm I'm good. Got
I've learned a
totally
ton
way
from
off
you my
topic there.
entire life. I know we're off topic and it's just become a bro sesh, but like I learned a ton from you the entire time I've known you, if that
Mhm.
means anything to you.
Oh,
So
it
I
does. I
appreciate it.
appreciate that. I really do. I've always held this belief. Not always. Let me back up here. Let me be honest. I haven't always held this belief, but
Yeah.
as of the past probably like 4 or 5 years, I have. Where's that? I might not be able to. Actually, it was when I was a equal opportunity advisor. I was like, I can't change the Army. Like, I accepted that fact. Like, no matter what I do, I can't change the Army. I'm only one person, right? I can't do it all, but I can change the Army for one individual, right?
Yeah.
So I made that my mission. Even if I got one person to just, I was able to influence them and make them a better person and just do whatever I could. And even now I have a soldier right now who's, oh man, this guy. He reminds me so much of myself, and it's scary. Like,
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for him, but I'm also very
Gonna
stern with
throw
him.
him. Yeah.
But like, it's, I'm not going to put his business out there, but he's in some hot water, but it's okay. And I'm trying to mentor him to like, hey, whatever happens, dude, we need to plan for both you staying and you going.
Hmm.
And when I want to set you up, and I want to, like, I'm investing like my time and energy into this kid because I care. And I told
Yeah.
him, dude, if I didn't care, I wouldn't even bother with you.
Yeah. You
I'm
just be
just
a
going to
name.
be out. Yeah. You just be another. All right. See you later, man.
Hmm.
How he came about to fall under me was just kind of, nobody wanted to deal with him. Like, I don't want this guy.
Yeah.
I was like, well, give him to me, man. I'll take him. And he has a lot of potential. He works hard. Good dude, but man, his personal life is a mess.
Yeah.
So And that's kind of like why I wanted to start this podcast back up, because I feel like a lot of men, they deal with a lot of stuff. I think we're in a time where being a man just isn't, it's not a thing anymore. I don't know. Like, it's like if you do manly things, or if you talk about masculinity in any form or fashion, like you're going to get struck down,
Yeah.
canceled or whatever the case may be. Anyways,
Kicked off Spotify.
yeah. Get my channel shut down, just because I talked about saving the kids or whatever,
Yeah.
like it's insane. But I don't want to get into that, because it's a whole
That's next
nother,
week.
yeah, it's
Be back in next week.
it's a whole nother basket of things I don't want to get into. But
Your point about that soldier just now, I know we were supposed to be talking about prioritization,
but you prioritize your soldiers, right?
100%. So that's what I was going to say. Like,
Yeah.
I know it's kind of a cheeseball thing to say, but like, I've noticed that leading with empathy, this is my first time being a first sergeant, right? But leading with empathy, just, making them actually know that you care versus pretending to care versus not caring at all. Like,
Right.
anybody could not care, anybody could pretend to care, but like, if you actually care about the well-being of your people and your peers and your coworkers and whatever, like, in a way, it kind of makes the job easier because you don't have to put up this front. Like,
Right.
oh, I have to pretend to care about this kid. Like, what should I do? What should I say to make him feel better, make her feel better? But it kind of comes back 10 times over, because then that person starts taking better care of their people sometimes, unless they're a dirt merchant, right? But it like it kind of just pays off, you know what I mean?
That was
Dirt
good.
merchant, I love that
Yeah.
one. But I think that's why it's important to kind of lead with empathy, because everybody's got a life at home, right? When you and I came up in the Army, it was a totally different world than it is now.
Yeah.
Some ways for better, some ways for worse, but like, not everyone is, I know we're soldiers 24/7, but like, people have stuff going on at home. People are going
They
through
do.
divorces, or financially broke, or working a second job so they can pay child support or keep a roof over their head. And if your first instinct is just to be like, well, I don't want this dirt bag. You know what I mean? Like, you're not doing them any favors. You're not doing
Yeah.
yourself any favors. So I think it's important to kind of just understand people and treat them like people, not just a name or a number or a rank, whatever.
Yeah. And that's something we fail to do, but just like anything else, man, like I 100% agree with everything you just said. But there are, I mean, let's be real, there are soldiers that just really don't care about anything.
Dude.
Dude,
Yeah.
you could give them $1 million and they would still spit in your face. But I think it's the effort. That's what I kind of bank on, like, the effort you put into something.
Yeah.
And that's, that's what I tell my shop. Like, look, I'm not expecting you guys to be perfect. I don't want you guys, we're going to fail at a lot of things, but here's what I don't want. I don't want you not, like, I want to see effort on your part. Don't just show up and quit. Don't just show up and not do anything. Like, effort means more to me than succeeding at whatever task you were given, right?
Like effort over outcome, kind of.
Right. I want to know that you put your best foot forward, and you might have come up short, and that's okay. We learn from it. We move on. But, showing up to work and not doing anything, that's not gonna fly. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not expecting the best, or, I obviously want the best for you and the best outcome. But I also understand, if you're learning, it's okay. We'll figure it out.
Everybody steps on their own junk every once in a while.
Yeah. I mean,
as long as you're trying,
Yeah.
But I think that's to bring this back to prioritization. Like, it's important to me, truly. If I have a tasking for my boss, it's important to me, obviously. But I know a lot of people that if they get a tasking, right, if their soldier needs something, it just becomes a smear on the whiteboard. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, I'll deal with that. And then nothing ever comes from it. And I've noticed, now that I've been in this seat for a little bit, like, I have plenty of times where a soldier comes in my office and asks me to do something, and I'll just stop what I'm doing and do that. And more often than not, it's like a 10-minute thing. You know what I mean? Versus writing it on my board, forgetting about it, and now that kid's like, well, they don't really care.
Yeah.
So making a priority to take care of them when possible. If you can't do it right that second, like, hey, come back in 15 minutes, and then mean it. Like, prioritization helps with that as well.
Right.
It helps with building trust. It could help with a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And that's a good point, man. Excuse me. That's a good point. Like, and honestly, I've been on the opposite side of that, where, people come up, hey, I need this done. Yeah. Just, put it on the board. And, it's not for me. It's like someone else. It's someone else's problem. I'll try my best to get to it, but if I don't, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But then there's been times where people come up and say, "Hey, I need help with this," and I'm like, "There's like, oh, come on, man. Okay, come here, let me teach you."
Yeah.
I've taken that approach now.
Mm.
I might be a little frustrated because I'm busy. I've got a lot of stuff
Oh
going
yeah,
on,
yeah, yeah.
but I definitely take the time to ensure I take care of that person, whatever it
Yeah.
is. But man, it gets definitely, and I kind of thought about that and like put myself in their shoes when I go to my bosses or and they're busy and I shoot them an email and or I say, hey, I want to talk about this or that. Let me bring this situation up to you, and they're like, yeah, I'll get to it. A lot of times they're so busy that they don't have time to get to that.
Hmm.
So I keep instead of saying, oh, so and so's they don't care about me. They're full of crap. Um, they just don't care. I think about, well, maybe they're so busy that they haven't gotten a chance. Let me remind them.
Hmm.
And I go back in there. I'm like, hey, just wonder if you got a chance to look at that.
Hmm.
Oh no, I haven't. I've been so busy. It's like, okay, I understand. I just wanted to keep it up there with you. Because they're going through a lot too.
Yeah, yeah.
So I like to, like I said, I like to play both sides here. I like to think
Hmm.
both sides through. My wife says I overthink too much, but that's okay.
We got the same wife, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah. She's like, you're just overthinking. I'm like, am I though? Or maybe you're just not thinking enough.
Dude,
And she's
hit her
like,
with the Uno reverse card.
and she's like, see right there, you're overthinking. I'm like, I say, I can't win. I can't win.
No, now you're overthinking about her underthinking.
Yeah. But it's good times.
Hmm.
It was, dude, this has been great. Like, I think we're like an hour and some change into this. And
Time
dude,
flies.
yeah, I guess we should probably hit, you know, I don't know. Should we take techniques for prioritization or should we just kind of,
Yeah, I don't care, man. Let's do it.
all
I'm
right.
chilling.
I mean, I guess we kind of hit on that when we talk about our to-do list, our boards, what kind of matters the most,
Yeah,
how we deal with our soldier issues at work or just
we
issues
got a
in
lot.
general. Um, I will say this, right? Kind of and this, my friend, well, I call him Bobby G, but he's Galarza at work. Bobby G, we were talking at work and I have blood pressure medicine because my blood pressure was through the roof and, I have to take medicine every day to make sure it's at a healthy level. Anyways, I was down to my last pill and I just did a refill and like the pharmacy's been contacting me like 3 days in a row. It went on for like 3 weeks and they put it back on the shelf. So I had to reorder it. And it was just a pain to go pick it up.
Yeah.
My own medicine. Like
Yeah,
I
just to
need
get
this
up from your
medicine.
desk and drive 5 minutes, and you're like, I can't possibly do this today.
Well, actually it's at the PX and where I work is like
Oh, you
30
guys are in the
minutes.
cut. Yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot.
it's like 30-minute drive, right?
Yeah.
And if I get there in the afternoon, I'm waiting for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I don't want to do that. Or if I usually I don't have a chance or a real choice to come in at 09, because I'm also a platoon sergeant, so it's like I have to be at everything.
Yeah.
Anyways, I wasn't making myself a priority, wasn't prioritizing my own health, my own medicine.
Mhm.
My buddy said this. He goes, if that was your child's medicine or your dog's medicine or your wife's medicine, would you wait so long to go pick it up? I was
That's
like,
valid.
no. He goes, then why won't you do that for yourself?
Hmm.
Why won't you take that time to take care of yourself and to go get that medicine? Because you need it. I'm like, yeah, I do. He's like, okay. So
Yeah,
what are we doing here? And I was like,
that's
damn it,
valid.
man. I was like, I hate when you're right. When you're right, you're right, brother. So I was like,
Right
okay.
again. But
Yeah.
it's valid though. It's like almost easier to take care of other people than yourself sometimes. Like you
Right.
have to make it an actual effort to prioritize yourself, and
Right.
I need work on that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, me too, obviously, right? This was just like last week. So
Yeah, yeah.
I finally took some time and I went, luckily we were off on Friday. So I was like, you know what? I don't care how long I got to go sit over at the pharmacy. I'm going to go over there and I'm going to get it. I'm going to get my
Yeah.
medicine. Luckily I was there for like maybe 5 minutes.
It didn't even
So,
take as long as you thought. There you
yeah.
go.
Then I was scrambling for a Valentine's gift for my wife. So I was like,
Oh,
this is
dude,
great.
you and me both. I hope she doesn't watch this, but you and me both.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, prioritizing yourself, you got to take care of yourself, man.
That you do.
You got
I
to take
appreciate you
time.
having me, man. This has been fun. This is my
Yeah.
first and probably last podcast, but I had a good time. Unless you
No,
want me
man.
back on, dude.
Yeah, we'll have you back and we'll just call it like a BS catch up session, like a azimuth check. I don't know.
I like it, dude. We can do like a monthly azimuth check.
Yeah, for sure.
Sweet.
But just to kind of recap, I think what did we cover? Prioritization, obviously, of your life. Using the 80-20 rule, what that was, kind of going over that. The Eisenhower matrix. Look, if you don't know what that is, go look it up on YouTube. It's a great tool. You can mentally do it.
It really is a great tool.
Yeah.
And helps you kind of visualize where things actually sit versus everything being a glass ball.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And you can probably, I don't know if you're going to use it at work, but take it, man. And
100%. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm going to draw the quad chart as soon as I get in tonight, probably. Talk
Yeah.
about prioritization. Going to
yeah,
the
just
office.
like this is what we can do, is what we can't do. Okay, so
Yeah.
are you paying attention? He's like eating
Never.
crowns over in the corner.
Oh, yeah.
Here's
This one tastes like orange.
yeah. My favorite color is clear. All right, I'm gonna stop hating on your commander, man.
He's going to
Same.
watch this. He was actually your number one fan until about 5 seconds ago. Oops. Come back.
I heard he was a good dude. I don't know who he is, but
He's
yeah,
fine.
I heard good things. So
He's a good guy.
somebody's like, yeah, he lucked out, man. He got one of the better ones. I'm like,
Interesting. Yeah, no, he's a very good guy.
yeah. I mean, I think we sprinkled in our tools and techniques for what we do to prioritize the lives, even though we're not great at it, right? And maybe I should rename the podcast or the episode to just prioritization in life, not mastering.
Working on mastering prioritization.
Working on prioritizing in life.
Yeah.
Prioritization in life. Yeah.
Slowly
anyways.
mastering.
Yeah.
Dude, it's a step in the right direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said before, until we started talking about this, I didn't realize what I wasn't doing or what I was. So it's been helpful for me even.
And that's the whole point, right? That's kind of what I want to get after. Because believe it or not, there's more people like us. Right? I'm not a Navy SEAL. I'm not a Ranger. I wasn't, I'm not a CEO of a company. I'm just your average, normal Joe. Literally, I'm just an average Joe. Just
average Joe Chacon.
Yep.
I like it.
Other people could. Hopefully, they learn. They got something out of this.
Yeah.
All 1 hour and 17 minutes. Oh Lord.
Is that a long one?
I mean, usually you want to try to keep it, but like I said, it's free flowing. Just
Yeah.
I'm in the mindset that I don't care if someone listens to it all the way through or not.
Yeah.
Hopefully they get something out of the parts that they did listen to, and maybe they'll come back and listen to the rest of it. If not, no bigs. Like you can literally say whatever you want, and if you choose to listen, great. If you don't, more power to you. Or sorry you missed out.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, but we did it, and that's all that matters, right? So,
It was a good time, man. Thank you again.
all right, man. So I guess I'll cut it there. And again, I want to thank you, man, for coming on. I know it took an hour of your time, and I appreciate that. That's valuable. Your time's valuable.
I love it, man. Thanks for having me.
We should definitely link up outside of this, have lunch or
Yeah,
dinner or
absolutely.
something.
I'll shoot you a text after this.
Yeah, for sure, man. Dude, take my number down. For the love of God, put my number in your phone.
Facebook Messenger,
Yes.
like 12-year-olds. Yeah, I'll text you my number right now on Facebook.
All right.
All right, man. Thank you.
Yep. And again, thanks for coming, man. Appreciate it.
Been a pleasure. Later.
All right, later.